Hey y'all, family. That last video I made about this situation about my family was going to be the last one, but I was asked a question about what I said about that wedding and about Lindsay's and Cody, but mostly Lindsay thinks she's something that she's not. Let me explain to you about that wedding they had. Not against the wedding. You know, somebody told me that what I said was inaccurate. And that everybody's, doing that. Well, there wasn't anything I said about it that was inaccurate. It's just that we live in a world that people can't see what they can't see because they see what's right in front of them, and these things are being projected on them. So let's talk about that wedding, that venue down there. That wedding was the I guess you say the after wedding festivities, if you want to call it that, was held in a pavilion. Okay, and it had lights on it in it, and it was all fixed up with these people brought in, it was a nice setup under a pavilion, which a lot of farmers put up to store round bales of hay in. All this thing needed to be able to store round bales of hay with maybe some sides about halfway down. And a lot of farmers will store round bales of hay in pavilions like this, okay? So it's a hay barn. It is a hay barn. And then they did have the actual wedding ceremony out there in a field. With it had a sidewalk, and there's a water feature and all this. This place fixed up a nice wedding venue. And I'm sure it would cost some money to have the wedding there. Okay? And you'll say, well, Rodney, a lot of people's doing that now. Okay. There's a lot of people doing a lot of things now. And there's a lot of people getting divorces now. I'm going to try to connect to you what I'm telling you. And if you can't see it, I'm sorry. You're just wrong, because everybody's, what the divorce rate is now? Look it up. It's been this way for years. And now people ain't even getting married. They're just shacking up. And they're having kids out of wedlock, and they're just okay with it. Okay? I'm not telling you should or you shouldn't. I'm telling you, look at society. All right. There was nothing special about that pavilion as far as in regards to a wedding, a holy matrimony, okay? And they had the proceedings over there in a field with a little water feature behind it, but it really, you put a fence around it, and it's a cow pasture with a pond for them to drink out of, okay? That's what it is. And they went up there and had the proceedings in a hay barn, okay? And then the preacher, I said he was half homosexual. Well, I understood the man was divorced, and he had his hair duded up like I forget how his hair, I'm wanting to say he had like a man bun, but it may not have been a man bun. It was something about it. When I looked at him, I thought, what's wrong with this man? And then he was wearing them skinny jeans, if I remember correctly, or skinny pants. I mean, he was trying to be, he was a young pastor. But you could tell that he was trying to be what the world is trying to be. Okay? And he had a little effeminate motion to him. I don't know if he's really effeminate, if he's just learned to carry himself that way. Okay? So they had that wedding over there in what easily could have been turned into a cow pasture, which would make more sense for the activity. I ain't talking about for the money the place makes. That's a good place to put a fence around, put some cows in it or some goats. I mean, they're really wasting the piece of property. And then that barn up there is an excellent hay barn. They're not wasting it because this world will pay to have their wedding out there. Okay? So they had their little wedding procedure with a divorced preacher, is what I understood, that looked like he was from San Francisco. Okay? And then we went over there to that hay barn, and they had dancing, they had drinking, and they had this dance music. Okay? All they lacked was a golden calf over there. If they would have had a golden calf, I imagine it would look just like what Moses saw when he come off the mountain after receiving the law of God. He went up there getting the law of God, and he come down there and he saw them people dancing around that golden calf. And he broke the law of God. And then he had to go back and get them made again. That's all that wedding missed over there, if you want to call it a wedding, was a golden calf to dance around in that hay barn. Okay? Now you say, well, Rodney, you're a religious nut. No, I'm not a religious nut. You're a nut if you don't understand that a wedding is a religious ceremony. You're a nut. If it wasn't for some kind of belief in God or that we're doing something of a higher nature than our base nature, then you wouldn't even have a wedding. You'd just shack up. And that's what we're seeing today. People either shacking up or divorcing because there's not a holy matrimony anymore. They're having a wedding over there in a cow pasture, a fixed up cow pasture, and then they're going over in the hay barn and having a pagan ritual by preachers that's been divorced and looks like they come from San Francisco. All right? Versus what we used to see. And this ain't nothing new. This has been going on 20 years, but look at society. Versus what we used to see, we'd see a man and a woman getting together, and they'd get married maybe in a small country church, even a large church. They got through, they went to the fellowship hall, and they had their families and all there. They had the preacher there, and they didn't do the drinking, and they didn't do the dancing. They enjoyed each other's company, and the whole thing was dedicated to God, just like the whole building was. The whole environment's dedicated to God. So the whole proceeding's dedicated to God. So the whole wedding, the whole marriage can be dedicated to God. I'm not saying that people that had church marriages didn't get divorced. But these things that people's doing, these are not holy matrimonies. These are pagan rituals. And most of you getting these weddings now, you need to just go ahead and get you a golden calf over there where you're dancing and drinking after you half homosexual preachers done tried to unite you there. You're not united. You're not united. You're not united. You're just in some kind of legal framework of something so she can run off and take everything you work for. That's all you're in. You're not united as one. If you was, you would never get divorced. Your wedding ceremony is not even united as one under God, because you're over there putting on a fake marriage proceedings, and then you're going over there and right out of the gate you've got a split idea about what life's supposed to be about. Over here you want God to bless this marriage, and then you want to go over here and have a pagan ritual around a golden calf. You just don't have the golden calf. So yes, Cody was married in a hay barn. No, he wasn't married in a hay barn. He was married in a cow pasture, and they went over and got, not necessarily Cody, but there was people over there getting drunk in the hay barn. And then there's dancing just like if you had a golden calf. They didn't have a holy matrimony. It didn't start out right. It ain't going to end right. Unless they rededicate, rededicate, or whatever they got to do back to God and repent for the direction that they're on. That's the way it is. And you say that they wasn't united in marriage because when we got up there at the hospital when the baby's going to be born, they wasn't even united in the family. The family's not united now. They cut me and my wife off because we was so-called was helping poor people. Think about that. That's not a united marriage. Because it's not a united family. Because it was a united wedding under God. thing ain't gonna work. This is a catastrophe. But Cody knew all this. Let me see how many minutes I got into this. That's what I'm telling you. I didn't blow anything out of proportion. This thing ain't gonna work. It ain't nothing but worldly. And it's gonna go the same route as all the other marriages. It's just a matter of time. Just the way it is. They're not united. But me and my wife's going to be united. And I'm not letting that crap around me. It's not I'm just being mean to Cody or trying to be whatever. I'm keeping that crap away from me. Cody knew all this. Cody knows everything I'm telling him. And there's other parts to this. Cody knows full well that his daddy's telling him the truth. This ain't even really about Cody. This part right here, I'm just explaining to you why I said it. I'm telling you the truth. The wedding was not in a church dedicated to God, where they have services every week dedicated to God, where their marriage is dedicated to God. They had a compromise situation right out of the gate. They want God to sanctify and bless something that it ain't able to be blessed. It ain't able to be blessed. Y'all, the earth is flat. Once you understand that, you'll understand why these things matter so much. This is a spiritual realm. We're fighting spiritual battles. And these are topics that I don't even care about talking about no more, because most people are too stupid to understand it. But all you got to do is see what is not right in front of your eyes. Look beyond it. We don't have the problems in our society like we have because we're smart people. This is a stupid society. Bye.